9.7 talks about the quadratic formula. We've looked at a few ways to get solutions. So we've looked at vertex form, where we can do PEMDAS backwards and get our solutions. We've looked at factored form, where we set w equal to 0 because that's the first factor, and then we set 200 minus 2w equal to 0 because that's the second factor, and we get our solutions. And then perfect square trinomial, we've actually taken our box, our sneaky square, put our x squared, and then half of 6 is 3x and 3x. And if we square 3, we get 9. So x plus 3, x plus 3, and that gets us x plus 3 squared equals 0. And then again, on that one, we can square root it, and we find out that we have one solution, and that's where the vertex is as well. Remembering that solutions, zeros, x-intercepts, and roots all mean the same thing. That's where if I have a graph and I have a parabola, then all of these things refer to the points right here on the x-axis. The quadratic formula was derived from taking this general form, completing the square, which we did in 9.6, and then solving for x. And when we did that, this is the formula we have. Now for any quadratic, we just figure out what's the a, what's the b, and what's the c, plug it into the formula, and we can find the solutions. On example A, let's go ahead and identify a, b, and c. A comes from what's in front of x squared, so a is equal to 3. And b is in front of just the plain old x term, so b is equal to 5. And then c is just that constant, so c equals a -7. Then I can plug it in. So x equals negative, and I always put everything in parentheses so that I don't miss a sign. B, which is 5, so that's what we got up here, negative b, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so I have 5 again, squared, minus 4 times a, which we said was 3, and c, which we said was -7, all over 2 times a, which we said was 3. And then we simplify. So x equals -5 is just -5. And then 5 squared is 25. And then up here we have a negative times a negative, so that ends up being a positive. 4 times 3 is 12, times 7 is 84, all over 2 times 3, which is 6. So x equals -5 plus or minus the square root of 25 plus 84, so 109, all over 6. So these are our x-intercepts if we actually put it into the calculator and found out what -5 plus square root of 109 divided by 6 and -5 minus square root of 109 divided by 6 equals, then we have the two solutions. Go ahead, try the examples below. Pause the video. Letter A, we're going to identify A as -2, B is -5, and C is 6. And then we're going to plug it in. So x equals -b, which we said was a -5, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so -5 squared, minus 4 times a, which we said was -2, times c, which is 6. all of that is divided by 2a, which was negative 2. So x equals a negative negative 5 is just plain old 5, plus or minus the square root. Negative 5 squared is 25. And then we have a negative 4 times a negative 2 is a positive. 4 times 2 is 8 times 6 is 48. All over 2 times negative 2, which is negative 4. X equals 5 plus or minus the square root. 25 plus 48, so 8 and 5 is 13. And then 4 plus 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. All over negative 4. For letter B, our A is 5, our B is 8, and our C is negative 3. So x equals negative B, which is 8, plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A, which was 5, times C, which is negative 3, all over 2 times A, which is 5. So x equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared, which is 64. Negative 4 and negative 3 make a positive. 4 times 3 is 12, times 5 is 60. All over 2 times 5 is 10. And we get x equals negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 124 all over 10. And for right now, we're going to leave that as our answer.